Hey there, CJ Messins, and welcome to homework 2.16. This is using the commutative property of addition to help us with adding and subtracting rational numbers. So this is an extension homework due tomorrow. So please make sure you show all work. I should not just see an answer in the answer box. So here we go. 80 plus negative 22 and 4/15. So remember, we're going to start off by splitting our mixed numbers. So we'll say 80 plus negative 22 plus negative 4/15. Remember, if the whole number is negative, the fraction is also negative. So these two added together, that's DSSM, different signs subtract more. So basically I want to do 80 minus 22. When I do the subtraction, I'll get 58, and that's positive 58 because I had more positives. So positive 58 plus negative 4/15. I cannot just put these together because one is positive, one is negative. So what I need to do is borrow one whole. So this becomes 57 plus 15 over 15. I got the 15 over 15 from that denominator right there. So that's the borrowing one whole that I'm getting, plus negative 4/15. And now I can add the two fractions together. So my answer will be 57 plus 15 plus negative 4, again, that's DSSM, different signs subtract more. So 15 minus 4 is 11. It's positive 11 because I had more positive. So 11 over 15. And now I can slap these two together because they're both positive. So 57 and 11/15 is my answer. I would pause right now if I were you and do number 2. Number 3. I got 1/5 plus 20.3 minus a negative 5 3/5. So first of all, we need the KCC, keep, change, change. So keep it, plus, plus. And now let's rewrite this using the commutative property to see if we can get some guys right next to each other. So let's write it as 5 3/5 plus 1/5 plus 20.3, right? So hopefully you can see right here, oh, I have common denominators, so I can just add those together, right? So this will be 5 and 3 plus 1 is 4, and obviously keep the denominator, 4/5 plus 20.3. Now you shouldn't freak out because you know how to change a decimal into a fraction, right? The 0.3 is in the tenths spot. So basically this 20.3 becomes 20 and 3 over 10, right? So you're going to have 5 and 4/5 plus 20 and 3 over 10. The 0.3 just became 3 over 10. So now all you need to do is find common denominators, right? So say times 2 times 2, and I have 5 and 8/10 plus 20 and 3/10. When I add that up, I should get 25 and 11/10. All right, now there's my problem, 25 and 11/10. I got to change the 11/10 part because it's improper, right? So 10 goes into 11 one time with 1 left over. So that fraction right there itself is 1 and 1/10. And then we add it to the 25 wholes that we already had, right? That should give us our answer of 26 and 1/10. So to be clear, all we did was use the commutative property to rewrite this expression to get the fifths next to each other. When I did that, I got 5 and 4/5 plus 20.3. I then changed that decimal into a fraction, which I know how to do from my previous unit. And then I found common denominators, right, by multiplying both by 2 on this one. I got an improper fraction, and 11/10. I changed that to a mixed number in 1 and 1/10, and then I added it to the 25 wholes to get 26 over 1/10. Right? If we keep, change, change on number 4, keep it, change, change, keep, change, change, right? You're going to get 11/12 plus negative 5/6 plus positive 10. And basically the only thing you're going to want to do here is find common denominators first, right? I'll let you go ahead and finish that one. All right, number 5, let's do keep, change, change first. Keep it, change, change, and then this plus sign locks that negative 12 and 1/4 in, right? So we'll have, let's rewrite this as negative, I want to get, well, no, we don't have to necessarily rewrite it. We'll say 1 plus negative 3/4 plus, let's split this, negative 12 plus negative 1/4, right? Now let's use the commutative property and we'll say 1 plus negative 3/4 plus negative 1/4 plus negative 12. All right, and we can say 1 plus, what is negative 3 plus negative 4? Since they have common denominators, that's negative 4 over 4 plus negative 12. Well, this right here, negative 4 over 4, is just negative 1, right? Because it's a whole number with a negative sign, so negative 1. So we have 1 plus negative 1 plus negative 12. And hopefully you realize that this right here is the additive inverse. 1 plus negative 1, or a number plus its opposite, additive inverse. So that's 0, sorry. That's 0 plus negative 12, and your answer is just negative 12. Right? So in that case, we were looking for the additive inverse. And number 6, let's split our fractions right off the bat. So negative 2 plus negative 2/5, right? I'm splitting that guy, plus 3 plus positive 1/4, and then oops, keep change, so keep it, change it. So plus negative 3/5, right? And when you do that, you might want to rewrite something like this, right? Put the whole numbers next to each other, negative 2 plus positive 3, and then put the fractions next to each other, plus negative 2/5 plus negative 3/5 plus 1/4, right? Hopefully you recognize that this negative 2 plus negative 3 is kind of like when we had the negative 3 plus negative 1. You should get a negative whole out of that, right? And then you might see something else happen. So what is the commutative property of addition? It just says you can change the order of addition without, sorry about this, changing the sum. All right, let's go over to the back side. On the back side, again, you're just going to practice splitting your mixed numbers and then trying to put like signs next to each other. So negative 5 and 5/7, that's negative 5 plus negative 5/7. And then we say plus 8, but then split this again, plus negative 3 plus negative 2/7, right? And once we do that, you'll hopefully see that you want to get the whole numbers next to each other and these fractions next to each other, right? So you'll say negative 5 plus negative 3 plus negative 5/7 plus negative 2/7 plus 8. So I used the commutative property of addition there, and basically what I did was I put these fractions that had like denominators next to each other. I put these whole numbers that had like signs next to each other, and I put the plus 8 over there. So we have negative 5 plus negative 3 is negative 8. Negative 5/7 plus negative 2/7 is negative 7/7, because same signs add keep, right? A negative plus a negative, same signs, add them up, keep the sign, and then plus 8. Now you might want to use the commutative property of addition again, because you have a negative 8 and a positive 8, right? So if you put those next to each other, you hopefully again will see that idea of the additive inverse. I have a negative 8 plus a positive 8 plus a negative 7/7. This obviously right here is 0 plus negative 7/7, and we've gone over this. When I have a whole number with a negative, it's just a negative 1, right? So we have this is equal to negative 1. So there's our answer. All right, so again, the whole idea of kind of searching for the additive inverse is important. Let's do number 10. Hopefully right off the bat you see that we have fourths. You see that this is 0.75, so hopefully you can see, all right, there's something I can work with here. I know how to convert fourths into decimals, or I know how to convert that decimal into fourths, right? So plus a positive when we do KCC. And let's go ahead and say, all right, this is 3/4 plus 3.75. That's going to be plus 3 and 0.75. That's 3/4, right? So plus 3/4. That's where I got that from, right? The 3 in 0.75 is 3 3/4 plus 5 1/4. All right, so now that we have this, it might be easiest for us to put all the fractions together and the whole numbers together. So I'll say 3 plus 5 plus 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 1/4. And so as these fractions kind of come up here, I'll have 3 plus 5 plus 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 1/4. I have nothing but common denominators here. Because I have nothing but common denominators means I can just add straight across. So 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7/4. And I could slap these guys together, but I have to make sure that the 7/4 gets changed to a mixed number. So 4 goes into 7 one time, with 3 left over. So I have 1 3/4 plus 8, and they're both positive, so I get to go ahead and slap them together, and that gives me my answer of 9 3/4. Right? Number 12 should be pretty straightforward. I'm just going to say 12 plus, let's split our mixed number here, plus -2 plus -1/4. Once I do that, I can go ahead and say, all right here I have DSSM, which means different signs subtract, keep the sign of the larger. So 12 minus 2 is 10. It's positive 10 because there's more positives. So 10 plus -1/4. And obviously you cannot slap these together because there's different signs. So you need to go ahead and borrow, right? So the 10 goes to 9 plus, and then we're borrowing fourths, right? So plus 4/4 plus -1/4. And now we can actually do this addition, or it's going to end up being subtraction because they're different signs, right? So 4 plus a -1 is going to give us our answer. So 4 minus 1 is 3. And you keep the denominator, it's positive because they're more positive. So 9 3/4 is your answer. 9 3/4. All right. And lastly, number 14, we're going to have to keep change off the bat because I have subtraction. So keep it, change. I have 1/4, I have 3/4, and then you see 12.1. You know that that's 12, and 0.1 is in the 10th spot, so 1/10, right? So say 1/4 plus, we can call this 12 1/10. Sorry about the writing, guys. I know it's kind of frustrating that it's going all over the place. I'm not sure what's up with the computer, but we'll make do. Plus 5 3/4. So it might be helpful to put the fractions next to each other and the whole numbers, and then maybe the 10th off to the side by itself. So we could say 12 plus 5 plus 1/4 plus 3/4 plus 1/10. And when we add all this together, you can do the whole numbers together. Hopefully you'll understand that 1/4 plus 3/4, that will give you 4/4, or another whole number. And so when we do that, I'm going to get 17 plus 4/4 plus 1/10. And some of you might want to jump the gun and say, okay, I got to find common denominators between 4 and 10, but stop yourself for a second. 4 over 4 is just 1, right? So it's just 17 plus 1 plus 1/10. And now you don't even have to find common denominators because you can just add the whole number. 17 and 1 is 18. And then since the fraction is positive and the whole number is positive, you can just add them together. So you get 18 plus 1/10. And there's your answer, 18 1/10. So 18 1/10. So this is a pretty tricky homework assignment. You need to make sure that you're trying to use the commutative property of addition. You need to remember your benchmarks of decimals to fractions. And if you have questions, you obviously need to call me. That's it.